Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. Time for their comic book roundtable. How's it going? Small group today. Last week we had everybody here, and today we just got Millie and Luke. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
Happy Batman Day.
Happy
Yes.
Batman Day. and I forgot to wear my Batman shirt. Man. Oh well. Oh well. So, are there festivities for Batman Day?
No, I mean I took my son. We went through probably about a good 4 or 5 places. Believe it or not, the better deals we came across actually came from like non-comic book places. Like Barnes & Noble had a good thing going.
Yeah.
GameStop had like 50% off their figure for like the DC collection ones was 50%. So I mean, the comic book shops we went to, it was nothing really.
Every day is Batman Day at a comic book store, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool that other places partake in that, I guess. But Batman's one of those characters, right, that kind of transcends comic books well past comic books and movies and everything else. Batman's Batman, kind of thing. So, well, cool. So we're gonna talk Marvel books first this week, mostly because none of us read any Marvel books this week, right? So we're gonna talk Marvel first. Okay, we're done talking Marvel. Let's talk Marvel news. We can roll right into news.
So there is Marvel news, luckily. So they had a Diamond Retailer Summit in Baltimore where they announced a bunch more Marvel books will be coming after Secret Wars. So Jeff Lemire will be writing a Moon Knight series with Greg Smallwood on art and Jordi Belair on colors. I'm excited about it because I want to read Moon Knight series, and it seemed interesting. They said they were going to tackle like mental illness. He's going to be in a mental institute, and a mental institute that kind of is set in like the barbaric times of the like mental institution times, like torture used as a medical device, I guess.
Right. So back before Geraldo Rivera came in and exposed the mental institutions for what the monsters that they were. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know me and Brendan were talking about this on Twitter. We're a little bit worried about this series because Jeff Lemire is writing a lot of books.
100 books, right?
Yeah. So
I wondered about that too, because he's writing for Marvel. He'll be writing Moon Knight. He's writing Old Man Logan. Is he writing? And then is he doing? Is he still
Hawkeye.
doing Hawkeye?
Yep.
So 3
and
Marvel books.
Extraordinary X-Men.
4 Marvel books. Is he still working on a Valiant book?
Bloodshot.
So.
And Descender.
And he's doing the artwork. At some point, he's doing the artwork for the Snyder and his, original graphic novel, which of course isn't just a few pages. That's a whole graphic novel's worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, that can be done kind of whenever. I mean, I'm assuming they don't have a, they don't have a deadline like these corporate comics do. So he's trying to be Charles Soule, is what he's trying to be, right? And I like some of Jeff Lemire's independent work, but I don't know that I'm really excited by any of his superhero work. And so for him to be doing that many books does kind of make you go, how about you concentrate on 1 or 2 and get them right?
Yeah. And I read,
Yep, he's frozen. Keep going.
Yeah.
Am I still here? Okay.
There you go.
I love the Moon Knight character, so I will probably try it out anyway. I'm curious to see what they do with the mental illness thing. Some writers take that whole mental illness thing way over the top. Some writers make it more of a of a mystical kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys read any of this last little chunk of run that Warren Ellis started.
I read the first volume.
Right. Is he crazy, or are those actual deities that he's working with? I got the impression that it was more mythical. It was more of a myth-based power, as opposed to him having split personalities. Where if you go back to like the Brenda's Malieve run, and he's just nuts. I mean, he's absolutely crazy. I mean, he's sitting in a room by himself having a conversation with all the Avengers. So to the point where he dresses up like the Avengers. I mean, so Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what it is, but I'm with
Yeah.
you, and I'm with you and Brendan. Nervous as to, can Jeff's writer chops handle that along with all the other stuff he's doing? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm nervous too because I read Descender up to issue 6, whatever it was, the first volume.
Hmm.
Didn't really enjoy it. I felt like it was very slow, and
Right.
I just was really dissatisfied with the ending of All New Hawkeye, the issue that came out last week, or whatever. I just wasn't happy with it. So I don't know where I stand with Lemire right now, and for him
Yeah.
to also be writing all these books just makes me wary of the book. But I think I'll be picking it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. What else?
So Dan Slott and Mike Allred's Silver Surfer is going to return after Secret Wars. I'm really happy about that. I've really been enjoying that. I'm reading it in trade, so I'm hoping the 3rd volume of the trade will come out before the new series starts, so I don't get spoilers from the end of the run, but I'm excited about that. I've been really enjoying that.
Do we know when these are coming out? I mean, I know Moon Knight's 2016, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so it's, of course, I
Yeah,
guess
I'm not sure
January-
when the Silver Surfer is coming out.
I guess January isn't that far off when you're talking solicitations, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. There will be an ongoing Mockingbird solo in 2016, which will be written by Chelsea King. She did the one-shot for the 50th anniversary of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm excited because that's a female writing a female title, so that makes me excited. I might pick that up just for that fact. And there's going to be a new Black Panther book. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, probably. Ta-Nehisi Coates is set to write it, and art by Brian Stelfreeze. I believe they're both African-American writers and artists, so that's really awesome. I'm glad that Marvel is kind of, listening to people and getting people to write those characters and stuff. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And the art looked really cool on the cover, so.
When is that movie coming out, right? Because there's supposed to be a Black Panther movie at some point. We're still a long ways off from that, though, right? That's like 2017 or 18?
Yeah, it's 17, I think, when that
Yeah.
comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, but lots of really good titles that I'm excited about. I might give a try because I really like that female writer writing a female-led title and everything. I think that's awesome. And the final Marvel news I have, John Watts, who will be directing the upcoming Spider-Man movie, said that Peter Parker will be 15 and will not be an origin story. And it was funny, he quoted saying, "There's only so many times you can watch Uncle Ben die." So
For sure.
I know a lot of people are happy about that.
Well, yeah, that's one of those characters that, come on, you don't need to keep saying that stuff over and over again.
Yep.
100% agree. That's interesting that they're going to make him that young, and yeah, that's cool. I would actually be interested in watching to see what they do with that. And I haven't been interested in watching a Spider-Man movie in a long time, just because it's just been a repeat of itself. It feels like, insert whatever name supervillain, but it ultimately ends up being the same thing. So
Yeah,
that's interesting because he was in high school, right? When in anything canon, he got bit by the spider, right?
Mhm.
Oh, that would work out. Yes. 15.
Yeah.
15 is like 9th grade, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that. Okay. Never mind.
But he's going to be in Civil War, so I was wondering what the time difference will be if he'll be 14 in Civil War. That seems a little too young, but I don't know. I'm just wondering how that time difference will work between the movies.
So they're getting to use him in Civil War, but the Spider-Man movie is still a Sony picture, right? It's not a Marvel picture, is it now? Is it Marvel now?
I think Sony still has most of the rights towards it.
So I'm assuming the two things won't match up.
Okay.
It would be my guess. I mean, I don't know, unless somebody out there knows that Sony pretty much gives Spider-Man away or sell it off or however that worked, or they just gained to kind of use the image of Spider-Man through the Civil War stuff. I don't know. I can't imagine that Sony would have completely given that up. So I wouldn't think Sony would care how that matches up with the Marvel Universe because they're not part of the Marvel Universe. Other than I think that they see the rationale. If we put Spider-Man in this movie over there, it helps us sell more of Marvel movies over here because clearly right now Marvel is doing very well at selling their movies, and maybe Spider-Man hasn't been as rock solid as what they want it to be. So let's use the free advertising from the Marvel movies to help sell our movie. Would be my thought on how they're gonna do that. So, that'll be cool. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to those comics just because, if nothing else, they're individual characters. Easier for me to get into the individual characters with less pitfalls, it feels like, as far as events, books, and that sort of thing, than like with some of the, group books that they have and stuff. Did I hear rumblings this week that they're more solidly confirming the fact that they're kind of chasing mutants out of the Marvel books? I mean, I know there's these mutant-oriented books out there, but it still sounds to me like they're still floating the idea potentially that the Inhumans are going to be the main focus. Am I wrong in that?
I didn't see anything about that. But...
Okay. I can't remember where I signed it, or I dreamed it. I mean, that may be the case still. I'm still thinking that I don't know, maybe with the TV show coming and the push for Inhumans as opposed to using mutants in the TV shows, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. So, what, next week? Are we that close to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show? Either of you watch that?
I watched a little bit of the first season, but I'm not caught up at all.
Right. I think it starts here soon. I've started seeing commercials for it anyway, and it looks like they're going full on with the Inhumans in it. Mm-hmm. The little bits and pieces of commercials I've seen have shown silhouettes of clearly of people who don't look like us. I mean, they clearly have like spines or something, so they could be getting into some interesting stuff. Finally. That's my problem with the show all along is, let's get to the people with superpowers. I want to see TV shows with superpowers, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting for Supergirl because it's going to be the closest thing, right? So.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other Marvel news?
That's all I got.
Great. So there was Marvel. We still killed almost a half an hour talking about Marvel stuff. So let's go on to DC. Let's talk some DC comics. What did we read that was DC-wise? We want to start right out with Grayson, because we know we've all read that?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Grayson, my digital screen 12. Here, I don't know if that shows up well.
Oh, it does. I can see it.
Awesome. Yep.
So,
this was a phenomenal issue.
I love this issue.
Yeah, I really, really liked it a lot. Because I was scared when I heard that he's coming back and he's gonna because he's been dead. Everybody thinks he's, the DC universe other than Batman has thought he was dead. So I was a bit nervous as to how bad this was gonna come across, him reintroducing himself to the Bat family. And they didn't forget. One of my worries was they were gonna forget the whole stuff that happened to the death of the family and how betrayed they all felt by Batman lying to them, and then Dick turns around and lies to him too. They addressed that in here, which I really appreciated. So what do you think of the technique in here? Every time he meets one of the Bat family, it's like there's a picture of him and the people he's talking to, and then tons of word balloons that have been sampled. Yeah, there's one that Millie has there.
Yeah. That was very what's the word I'm looking for? Very unique. I mean, obviously you don't see that a lot. I'll be honest, what I did, I kind of just read the book first, because after like the first one, it's a lot to read. And I get the point what they're getting at, so I just kind of want to just read it. And then
so there's the one where he meets Bruce.
Yeah.
Because currently in this timeline, Bruce doesn't know was Batman ever. And so you got all these little word bubbles throughout the time, and they're all over the place, from him being young Robin from the 50s, basically, clear up into, modern day dialogue and whatnot. And this page wasn't too bad, because it's just down one side and the other side. And as we get farther along, it gets harder. It really does get harder.
And I say that, it's not that I didn't like it. I'm
right.
Not sure. It's just...
Right, but yeah, see, like this one, where Red Hood is punching him. It gets a little harder to, like, does it matter what order you read them in? I mean, I don't know.
I
liked
don't think it
though.
matters what order you read it in. I think it's just getting the point across that there's a lot of history between the characters.
Right.
So,
Right. And I really liked the whole thing. I think the writers did such an excellent job of capturing each person he went to talk to. The weird one, of course, is Bruce, because Bruce is just weird right now because, his brain is being fixed, and so he's just kind of weird. I would love to know what Alfred comes up with as an excuse as to why he got blow-darted and his window got broken out, because, right, he doesn't know about the whole superhero thing, right?
yeah.
And of course, somebody smashes through the window. Agent Zero smashes through the window, and Blowguard, or not Blowguard, but anyway, shoots him in the neck with some, something that tranks him out. So Alfred, is going to wake him up and go, I have no idea what happened. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's funny afterwards. I was thinking about that. I'm like, how's he going to explain that away? But really, every single person he talks to in here it's just so well done.
Are we in agreement? I think the Damien one was probably the best interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Just happy to see him. Does not care.
It's right. They both thought each other. They both think they're legitimately dead. You know what I mean? 'Cause Dick is ever since Forever Evil has been off, and in Batman and Robin, he knows that Bruce went to go get his body but not bring him back to life. So that was really well done. I like that.
Yeah.
See Damien smile. You take a picture because it doesn't happen much.
Yeah. Right. No, that was cool. I even like the ending of it. How they kind of solve the thing and set up the next part of the story and whatnot. That I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. I was really scared that this like I said, this issue was going to break this book. That he was going to suddenly go back to Gotham and be part of the Gotham family. I don't know how this book's going to work out with the whole, Robin Eternal thing that's going to happen, because I know that Dick clearly has to play a part in that because he was one of the Robins or whatever. So I'm worried about what that's going to do to this book, because this book has just been great because it's been off in its own little world. Then he has a couple chats with Batman. It really has just been doing his own thing, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Janon's art continues to be just perfect in it. Everybody in it's gorgeous. There are no ugly people. Maybe that's a fault. I don't know, but I like it. I can't help it. So, yeah.
Did anyone else pick up on that Future's End little code thing?
No, because I didn't read the Future's End.
No, I didn't read it either.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I totally forgot about it. But it's like you go back and you're like, holy crap, that was pretty dang clever. I like that.
Yeah. I just really enjoyed the book. Always look forward to reading. It's the first thing I read when I got my books this week.
I will say there's one thing, not really a concern, not really a gripe. Bruce is going to have to answer the mail. To basically lying to all the Bat family again after he said, and Batman and Robin, hey, no more secrets, telling you the truth, whatever, after the death of the family. And obviously now the family knows that he just lied again. So obviously he can't answer the mail now because he doesn't know. But sooner or later, it's kind of like that little thing he's going to have to pay for.
No, I don't think he is, because I think the rest of the family just acknowledges the fact that at the end of the day, if Bruce thinks it's the right thing to do, he's going to lie to us, regardless. I think, and I think it also puts out there that it's that in what they do in their lives, things aren't simply black and white. You can't. I don't think you can simply, just like they all swore that nothing else, they weren't going to lie to each other, and then of course Dick is complicit in basically letting them all think that he was dead. I mean, letting them all go to his funeral and mourn for him and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it was the right thing to do, or he felt like it was the right thing to do. I don't know. I think it's one of those things. This is always going to be as long as the writers keep writing it anyway, it's always going to be a piece of friction that's there. Dick's one of those people. If Dad Batman says do this, at the end of the day, Dick's going to do it. And actually, I think they all will. Do you know what I mean? I think any one of them was put in that position that Dick was put in, every single one of those people would have done it.
Just the timing. It was literally happening as he was saying, "Hey, no more lies," and he's like,
Right.
it's like he's saying that with his fingers crossed behind his back. It's like,
Oh yeah, sure, sure,
Mhm.
sure. But you know, yeah. But anyway, dig it a lot. So
I just have one question about it.
Sure.
Luca Netz, Agent Zero, was revealed as Agent Zero. Who is that? Because I'm not very well versed on DC. Is that someone that is a character that we are supposed to know?
Isn't she the professor? The cannibal? No, that's the blonde hair.
no.
Because that was the only thing I was like, I felt like there was this big reveal, and I was like, oh, who's that? So I didn't know if it's just something that if someone is more well versed in DC would know, or.
She first appears in number 8, Grayson number 8, and is that
The one with the Hannibal. The professor.
is that number
And
8?
then there was, wasn't it?
No, is it number 8? Isn't that the one
have it
where
right
they kill off Spiral?
Yes.
Yeah, the
yes.
guy.
Right. So she's the one that goes to the she's the one that goes to the cafe with him and takes him out, right? But that's the only place we know her from.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if she was the character that is
Right.
history with her or anything. So.
No, not the
Okay.
best of my knowledge. That's a new character in this book, to the best of my knowledge. And I believe that the first and only place the first place we see her at is in that issue, and it's just her showing up and messing him up. Sorry for anybody who hasn't read that or is reading it in
Oh
trade.
yeah, sorry.
But yeah, that's the only place that she's from, to the
Okay.
best of my knowledge. But she's not that professor that is happy to eat you kind of thing.
No, not the. Yeah. I jacked up. It's not that old lady. If it is that. Was it the last issue? She's walking someone. I'm screwed up. Never mind.
I'd have to go back and actually look at the issues over again to know for sure. But best of my knowledge, that's the first place she shows up at is, I think it's issue 9, where they take out the boss. She takes the boss out and replaces him. And they leave Helena in as kind of acting like she's the person in charge, but she's really not the person in charge. It's this other person, this brunette, as opposed to that other brunette. So, but no, you aren't supposed to know her. She doesn't have any great history in the DC universe.
Okay.
So yeah, because you get that feeling, right? You it says her name, you're like
Yeah.
you're supposed to know who that is. Oh yeah, and that's what I thought when I first read it. I'm like, okay, this isn't anybody, but yeah.
Mm. Okay, good.
Okay, so got any other DC books you want to talk about, Luke?
Gotham by Midnight.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Oh, I know, and does it make it better because we know it's getting canceled?
No, because Ferrero's art just got that much better.
Yeah. There are some awesome scenes in here. I love this whole page.
Yeah.
As he's getting more mad, and she's trying to hold it in, the fact that she's a banshee. She screams super, super loud and crazy like because she's like an omen of someone's gonna die. So she's like freaking trying to get everybody out of the building, and she's trying to fight back screaming, because it's not very long after she screams that someone dies. And they're pushing Corrigan's buttons, and you can see the little skull in his eye there.
Yeah, I love how they did Corrigan. Because he started off, he was just so nonchalant, and cocky, and then they just broke him down.
So kind of the premise that's happened is Internal Affairs has basically brought in Corrigan and Drake, the two main people that are part of, Precinct 13, the troop that works at midnight, because they finally figured out that, hey, they get a lot of cases, but they never solve the cases. The people that they're on cases for just end up dead somewhere at some point, and so they never really clear their cases. So they've got Corrigan and Drake, the other woman that's on the team, in interrogation rooms, and they're interrogating them. Of course, they're both policemen. They've interrogated hundreds of people themselves, so they know the game. It's like, okay, which one of you guys is the good guy? Which one of you guys is the bad guy? Who's gonna offer me the water? I mean, they know the game, so it's awfully hard for them to. But they figure out that Corrigan seems to have a bit of a temper, and so they start pushing his buttons, and he finally loses it. And it is brutal when he loses it. Were you surprised by that?
How far they took it?
Yeah. There are some. I love this scene here where he first pops out of Corrigan.
Mm.
The Spectre first pops out of there, and he's all, because they're implying. They want to imply, because Corrigan keeps saying it's not me, it's this other thing. It's an act of God. I have nothing to do with it. And they're like, no, it's all you. How come it doesn't come out and kill the Joker? The Joker's got over 250 some kills, personally under his name. How come he doesn't kill the Joker? How come he doesn't do this? How come he doesn't do that? It's all you personally, whatever. And I'm gonna show this page. There's the end result of the interrogation. Those two flashpoints are two detectives.
Mind blown.
Get nuked. Yeah, it's like.
Almost literally.
I have to admit, I like the final page too with Corrigan. Yeah. He's sitting there, and of course he's in this tight little interrogation room. These two people are completely blown up, so of course there's gore everywhere, except for under the table, because the table would block them blowing up. So it's perfectly clean. I don't know. The art is amazing. I'm a big Ben Templesmith fan. I think Ben Templesmith draws some really freaky art for these kind of weird stuff. But I think Ferrara does a way better job. Because he does a better job facially of portraying the different emotions on people than what I think Templesmith does. What, we've got 3 issues left? 2 issues?
December, yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah, I'm curious now. I'm really dying to know how they're going to end this, because clearly he has crossed the line that you can't just back away from. Yeah. I mean, he blew up a bunch of police detectives in the police precinct. Well, he might be able to talk his way out of it. It was somebody else or whatever. I don't know. I love the whole black flower thing as they start.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to bring that up. Yeah,
that's really cool. There's been these black flowers that have kind of been around since the very first issue. And we thought it was, some evil, insidious thing that was creeping in, and it seems to be actually it's marking the places where something bad is going to happen, kind of a thing. So that's kind of interesting too. I really dig the comic. My guess would be is the reason it's not got the sales that it needs to keep up and whatnot is because, of course, it says Gotham on it, and Batman's nowhere in it. It doesn't have. Other than that first issue, it doesn't have anything. You have to like Gotham, I guess.
Yeah.
And the mystical side of Gotham, but I think it's a shame because that's a great book.
It is.
I'm real bummed I didn't pick that up. I actually, because when I got the Grayson books on Comixology, I was checking to see if that series was on there, and it wasn't on there at all.
Yeah.
So I was really upset, but I'm hoping to get it in trade.
And so that's part of the problem is clearly they aren't even considering it a Bat book, which I wouldn't either, other than it says Gotham, so it gets lumped in it. But I mean, I don't consider Black Canary a Batman book, but somehow it gets lumped in with the whole Gotham stuff, which makes no sense. But whatever. And this is one of the $2.99 books, So I mean, it wasn't like the price point was killing us, but. So yeah, I'm really, really, ashamed it's going away. I've really liked it, but I don't know. I'm excited to see how it's going to end because with the way this issue is, it's not just going to end. It's not just going to stop. I think we're going to have some sort of something exciting is going to happen with it. So I'm excited for that, I guess. So should be cool.
Can we take a quick intermission to talk with the Batman Day issue?
Sure.
Okay. Recommendation for everybody. Do not go into this, if you haven't read it, thinking Batman number 28, that whole sneak peek into Batman Eternal. Don't. 2 ways to look at this. First off, you're getting the very first issue of Endgame for free. So If you haven't bought the trade and you haven't read it yet and you just kind of want to feel it out for free, go get it. It's a great issue. Get
It
the
is.
product for free.
It is a great issue, but it is really weird
It is weird.
for the rest of how the story arc goes. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Do not argue that.
I loved it. I mean, I loved him versus the Justice League. I think it was fun, but then what it leads into, the rest of the end game is told completely differently than what that is. But.
Yeah. So you got that. It's 8 pages, and I can almost just tell you there's some shady stuff going on with Batman and Dick. Back when he was like, it actually starts 5 years. It says 5 years ago. So don't even get into the whole continuity timeline Batman. Don't go there. Just basically Robin is relatively, it's Dick, it's early in his career. Something happened, Batman is, hiding some information from him. Then you go kind of present day. It kind of goes back and forth for 8 pages, whatever. But just, that's all you need. There's some shady stuff that Batman's hiding from Robin. The art is great. Tony S. Daniels' art, it's good. But yeah, just temper your expectation. If you haven't read it yet, just temper it. That's pretty much what I gotta say about that.
Cool. And just to backtrack for a second, I looked at comments quickly. Brandon told me that there is Cullen Bunn had an interview where he basically says the X-Men are doomed. So I knew I'd seen something where it talks about the fact that they're kind of at their end of their ropes, for whatever that's worth. I mean, like they're gonna get rid of a flagship, but anyway, Luke, you read Batgirl? Okay.
Yes, I did. I read it.
And this is with Bengal on art as opposed to Babs Tarr. Bengal has done like the annual, I think, and the Endgame one shot. I think they did some of the work on it also. I actually really liked the art in this issue. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I felt like it had more motion and movement than what some of Babs Tarr's does. I think Babs Tarr is still learning how to do comic books. Not that she's learning how to draw, but how to do comic books, how to do panel layouts and whatnot. Whereas I think Bengal has a better grasp on that, it felt like to me. What did you think of the issue?
It started off good. I liked the initial confrontation with Babs and Velvet Tiger. After that, I don't know. Yeah. The concept with Velvet Tiger and why she's doing what she was doing is okay. I just kind of, I don't know.
Well, I thought that it was, there's the Velvet Tiger.
Yeah.
He's pretty flashy. But I like the scenes with her though. Here's, I guess my thing is there's aspects of the current Batgirl run that I like, though not my Babs, as we'll always keep saying. But I'm fine with it. It's just the storytelling of it. Every so often things get kind of like tied up too easily, or it's just simply okay. So she was part of a startup that failed, and those employees that were part of her startup left before it completely fell apart. And so she's going after them. I mean, so she sends tigers to eat them. Okay, she's crazy, but that doesn't make any sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It felt like it's like, okay, let's just say these things to put this together, because wouldn't it be fun to have her fight tigers? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I really like the art. I like the art better in this, I think, than I have the Babs Tarr stuff, and I like Babs Tarr stuff. But I don't know. Like I said, I like the comic as a whole. I like the story. I'm even starting to like this version of Babs for what she is. I mean, I think she's amusing and stuff, but there are aspects of the story itself that they just kind of want to. I don't know. It just seems simple. Like it's a conflict, and then okay, we're done using that conflict, so it's just over. It just seems really simple. and all of them have been that way. All the stories that these guys have written have been that way. So I have a problem with that aspect of it, mostly.
I just didn't. One thing kind of irked me too a little bit is toward the end when she's basically concussed, and then the motorcycle just comes out of nowhere. Hey, just come right on me. And I know it's Frankie doing her thing.
Right. It's the new Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, okay.
You don't like Knight Rider?
Yes, I like Knight Rider.
That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting to see the light go across the front of the motorcycle.
Well, it's didn't his dialogue kind of have like a
Yes.
dialogue box of yellowish?
Yeah. I don't know. That could be a fun aspect. Now she actually has some sort of Frankie has some sort of actual place in in the cosmology. Because I think it's kind of funny her being a computer person when Barbara's the computer person too. Now granted, Barbara's in the middle of a fist fight, she can't really use a computer. But in this day and age, why couldn't she have, a pocket computer that she could do most of her own investigating as far as that goes? So it felt to me like Frankie needed something else to her. So her being able to mentally run drones and stuff, I don't know.
She has telepathic powers. Let's call it as it is.
Well,
And that's
yeah.
that shit that goes from her thing. But...
Right, she has like a spinal tap thing that
Yeah.
she's got hooked up, and she's able to control them with her mind. So I don't know. It was okay. It's okay, but like I said, the structure of the story and it just simply how it ties things up when they just get tired of using something bugs me. But I still like the way the book looks.
Oh yeah. I get banged with that. That was good, art wise. The panels seem kind of small too.
There were a lot of them because there were a lot of busy pages. There were a lot of pages where a lot of stuff was happening. So yeah. I'm okay with that though. How about We Are Robin #4?
Yeah.
A book I usually kick the stuffings out of, and you know what? I loved this issue.
Yeah, this was good. I don't want to say it's convenient, but I like the timing. How we have Batgirl, kind of the Yvonne Craig homage into the story, which I thought was well played here.
Sure. There's a lot of interesting stuff. This is not the regular artist, is it?
No.
James Harvey.
Yeah,
Love the art. The art has an extreme, an indie feel to it.
I said it almost reminded me of Deadly Class, just a smidgen.
It does. It has some, aspects of that because, people look a little hipper, a little different than some of the other stuff. I love the panel layout and whatnot. A reason I like this story so much, I really like this character, this Robin, as it were. It's a personal story about her.
Yeah.
She doesn't come across as, I don't even know what would I call what's his face that the first couple issues were around, Duke Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Duke just strikes me as being kind of arrogant. And I just don't care about him. There's nothing about him that makes me invested or interested in him at all. I was immediately interested in this character. I love the aspects of pop culture that are in the panels and whatnot. Her mom having this really interesting conversation because one of them died. One of the Robins died last issue, and so now there's all this criticism. Here are these kids running around acting like they're Robin and getting themselves killed. What parent would allow that to happen? What parent would so you get this great conversation with her and her mom. I love her Batman stockings that she's wearing. She's a comic book reader. She's a Batgirl fan. She follows Batgirl on social media and stuff. I just love the aspects that I love when she's reading
Lord of the Flies.
She's reading Lord of the Flies, so that ties into the book. It starts to kind of she daydreams a lot. The beginning of the book, she's daydreaming that she's having a conversation about her friend that died. With Batgirl sitting in class, and she gets in trouble because she's literally talking out loud to an imaginary Batgirl. But that was cool. She ends up actually meeting Batgirl, the actual Batgirl. At one point, she pokes Batgirl to ensure that she's not hallucinating. I don't know. It was a really, really good story of dealing with, is this what we should be doing? And I love the fact that Batgirl doesn't try talking him down at all. It's yeah, you actually did save people. There are dire consequences to doing things wrong, and you need to understand that and be prepared for those consequences. But I'm not going to tell you not to do it, because that just wouldn't make any kind of sense at all, because here I am doing it. So but I really, really liked it. I love this picture. This guy keeps messing with Batgirl. So Batgirl wraps him up in police do not cross lines, shoves him in a garbage can, and puts a big sign on him that says, "I wasted Batgirl's time." I don't know. It was a really good issue. If issues were like this, I'd be excited about this book, and I would continue to get it. I don't plan on it, because I don't think we're going to get more issues that are like this. I don't think. Because this issue, to me, just had a completely different tone than the other stuff did.
And maybe it's, if they're just cramming maybe too much early, sometimes it's good to do a little character development. And I think in this case, the series kind of needs that, kind of to get us interested in each of them. Kind of flesh your character out a little bit.
That could be. I just, like I said, I really enjoyed the art, really enjoyed the story. I mean, it felt very heartfelt. It felt very genuine, relatable girl that you could actually see doing what she's doing. This attempt to be Robin that these kids are all trying to do. This one came across as being legitimate. I mean, I just, this could be my kid as easy as anybody else's kid, kind of a thing. And so maybe you're right in that aspect. The last issue, I'm still freaked out. The last issue, that it seems like it's Alfred that's inspiring these kids to do this, that he's the person talking to them. I want that resolved, because I can't imagine that Alfred would be like one of the last people that would put a bunch of kids trying to disarm a bomb or disarm a bunch of bombs. I don't know. So that still bothers me about the last issue. So, but I was happy to read this one. It was one of the last books I read, because I wasn't looking forward to reading it. It was actually pretty enjoyable. What else we got DC-wise? Anything?
I got Batman 66, the Origin of Bane in the 66 universe. Oh. This was good. All the contrivance was so thick in this, so thick. We actually get the scene of Bane breaking the bat of Batman, and and what saves him, he conveniently has a batarang that was behind his back, behind his belt, that took the impact, so it broke the batarang and not his back. And then how he gets the venom, it's not a vapor, it's like a liquid. He drinks the venom. So as they're fighting toward the end, he grabs this thing out of his belt that conveniently just looks like a frisbee, and he throws it at Bane, and it hits him in the face, and he goes into like the Dark Knight Rises mask. So now he can't drink the venom, and he literally looked like that. It was good. You do see Batgirl in here. She does. It really just felt like, again, just kind of paying homage to Yvonne Craig. It was a real small kind of part in it. And her interaction with Commissioner Gordon was kind of funny. She's trying to get O'Hara and the Commissioner and Batman and Robin to kind of find more clues, because it actually starts off with Riddler. Riddler plays a part in this, and he's trying to explain the whole point of how Riddler's involved, and and she's saying it's in the news, and then they're in Commissioner Gordon's office, and they don't know what she's talking about. She goes, "Yeah, Commissioner Gordon, you keep a newspaper in your desk, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, how do you know that?" And it was just like, duh. but yeah, it was good. I mean, it Bane felt like true Bane, but it made it work for the 66 universe.
Yeah.
It was good. It was well done.
Cool.
Also, a shame that this is ending in December.
Yeah, but it went 30 issues.
They need to go 130 issues.
It's going to go 30 issues. That's amazing. To me, the fact that it's gone almost 3 years blows my mind. I figured it was going to be lucky if it made 12, so that just shocks me. But, yeah. In our DC book I picked up Justice League 2001. This is issue 4. This is a one-shot, tells a story of the current Flash, on an adventure early on, right after she got her powers and whatnot. It's got I'm hoping a guest artist on it, Colin's on art. I do not like Colin's art. I never have liked Colin's art. So I really didn't enjoy the issue. There's pretty much nothing in this issue that was of any real importance. It really was a one-shot, kind of a filler in between stuff. I know that Porter is off doing, I want to say a Justice League book or something like that. But no, Superman. He's doing some Superman work. I'm hoping that's not a permanent gig for him. I hope he comes back to this because it'll be a shame because I think he makes a lot of what the book is great about the book. So, yeah, didn't care for it too much. Okay, no other DC books this week. DC news.
The only thing I got is, let me see, where is it? Executive producer and showrunner of Gotham, Bruno Heller, confirmed that the Court of Owls will be in the show at some point.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you watch?
I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. It's something I watched the whole family and high school time. It's kind of hard to get everybody in the same place at the same time to watch it. Seems like they're going to be focusing on villains a lot more.
Yeah, it has like a very it has like a Suicide Squad.
Yeah, does it feel like the show this season is going to slide into that's really what it's about? They've discovered that, you know what, people like the villains more than they like the heroes in the show, so we're going to see a lot more of the villains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you didn't think it was all that good?
It's not that I don't think it was good. It's just like Bullock. I don't want to spoil it for you. Obviously things have happened since the end of season 1, so
sure.
It's not bad. What's her name? Barbara Keene. I still don't like her.
Well, I like her better now.
It seems like she's got.
I like her better now that she's bonkers and is clearly.
Yeah. Except I remember I saw somewhere that they were trying to say that she's gonna be like Harley Quinn, gonna be like the Gotham universe's version of Harley Quinn. I was like, no, it can't be.
Why?
It's Barbara Keene.
So what?
No, it can't be Harley Quinn.
I don't see why not.
Why? No.
Why not?
Why not? Well, number one, it's the whole thing with the Joker interaction. That's number one. There's no. Well, now, okay, if you want to get technical, is she interacting with someone who could be the Joker?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you that. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right. And
I mean, clearly that whole show is messed up as far as being anything like what we would consider close to the Batman universe. So do you just watch it for what it is and don't sweat the fact that it doesn't line up with stuff? Because clearly these people are all going to be 100 years old by the time Bruce is old enough to actually be Batman. Mm-hmm. These people are all going to be in their 60s. So I don't think that...
Which, by the way, that I'm interested and confused on. Because I don't want to ruin it because I know you still got to watch it.
Yeah, well, I'll watch it. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
You're gonna be peaked and you're gonna go, huh? At the same time. So.
Yeah, I don't know. So I can't think of any DC news that seems like it came out this last week that was it of being real. After the cancel, yeah, as I say, after last week's, we're canceling a bunch of books and that excitement. This week's been pretty quiet as far as that kind of stuff goes. Other than the argument on whether or not this next Superman Batman movie is Man of Steel 2
the sequel. Yeah.
Is it the sequel or is it not the sequel, or is there gonna still be a sequel, or forget it, they're not gonna do another Superman movie? It's really all about Batman and nobody else can have a movie besides Batman. I don't know, but that's all. I don't know that anybody anywhere can confirm any of that stuff to be even remotely real. I watch what they put out and I guess leave it at that. So yeah. Okay, well let's move on to independent books then. What do we want to talk about independent book wise?
I think all three of us read Wolf, right?
Yep.
Okay, Wolf issue number 3.
I really like this cover.
Yeah, I just say that's a great cover. For how little colors that are in it, but enough to, him leaning against the wall there in the shadow of Wolf. What do you think? 3 issues in.
I don't want to say there's like a lot of moving pieces that are kind of hard to follow a little bit, but I think that it's true for me.
There are a lot of moving pieces, and as much as I appreciate the art and I love the color by Lee Luridge, every once in a while, like there's some policemen or police detectives, and their faces look almost exactly like our main character, Wolf's face. I mean, his nose is a little flatter than theirs are, but like skin tone wise and whatnot, and a lot of the facial features, 'cause almost all of the guys have the exact same rectangle head with the corners knocked off. I mean, like I'm talking, I got a rectangle head, but that's what a lot of their heads look like, and so there's a point where we are seeing a lot of Wolf, a lot of that character, and then it goes briefly to the police detectives. They're trying to figure out, where's the girl and who murdered her parents. And I briefly thought, did Wolf just change clothes? And he's now trying to figure out their murder too? I had to look at it twice to make sure that was. I mean, that makes it a little more confusing. But there are a lot of moving parts. Yes, I mean, because you've got. Okay, so for plots, we've got whatever the wheeling and dealing he's got going on with the Nazi racist old guy that's got the Russian guy working for him, who's hilarious. I love reading his lines.
Waifu, get to waifu.
Yeah, because he drops the R's and W's and whatnot all messed up. So the vampires. So you got that plot line going. Of course, you've got this little girl who is the daughter of Satan for all what seems to be for all practical purposes. Their whole murder thing that's going on. The detectives, they're trying to figure that out. He's also
landlords.
Right. He's helping out his friend Freddy by going to the vampire landlord to talk the rent down. That was all interesting, and somehow that's all tied back in. Like he's being set up. Because don't you get the impression that the old guy and the Russian wanted him to go to meet this vampire and introduce the book? There's all this little stuff going on that it's a book I feel like I need to pay attention to every little thing that's happening because it's going to come back at some point and mean something somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with the challenge. I mean, I'm enjoying the book. I'm really curious to see where it goes.
I just think it's just hard, and it's not that I'm not kind of like you. Not that I'm not enjoying it. It's just a little hard. You're right. You have to pay attention. You might have to slow down a little bit, but it's still fun. Just a little bit harder.
When I'm reading Wolf, I think it's like the slowest. I read a comic. I just pay attention to the lines because a lot of the writing is really smart. Like the dialogue between characters and stuff. You really have to pay attention. I agree, but. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like all the different aspects and storylines that are kind of tying together. And the one thing that did kind of confuse me was, again, like the Wolf, like in the cop thing, but also when the Russian comes to get Anita and I forget his name, but the Cthulhu-looking guy,
right.
And then it cut to like her on the road. I was like, did she just teleport? Like I didn't realize that time had passed between the panels because it was like next page over. I literally thought she teleported to the middle of the road.
What makes it confusing also, right, is that pages, it's all the same colors, right? I mean, because colors get used, colors get used a lot in this thing. I mean, it sets a tone for a lot of the book. This issue happens to have lots of ambers and reds and yellows. But we go from this scene where the guy's knocking on the door and he flattens Freddy, and then the next scene we're out on the road. You're right. It's like, I'm assuming time passed, but how do we know time passed?
Yeah. It threw me off for a minute. I was like kind of turning back pages. I was like, did I miss a few pages? I was afraid I got like a printing error because, again, it was kind of like last issue, the ending of last issue, where it just ended so abruptly, and I was like, am I missing pages? Because I think Travis, was it on your first issue there was a printing error where the pages were like out of order? So
they didn't staple a page in, so so you got 2 pages that were appropriate, and then you got 2 pages that were actually 15 pages later on is where those pages were
So I'm always worried about that when I like see those things and I'm like, something wrong with my print, but I'm still really enjoying the book. I do like it.
Yeah.
Do we
But
know what he injected himself with at the end, or was he just getting high in the lounge
Oh,
chair,
yeah,
or
I
is
don't
that
know
something I
that guy and
missed?
what
Yeah.
what he's got going on.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what he is yet, really. You know, he's clearly something beyond just a racist old guy. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, what that is, I don't know. I love the storytelling in this where it gives us little hints about how Wolf is, why Wolf, what he is, without just you know backstory, without giving us a giant backstory. It's just slipped in conversation with people have, when he's talking with the vampire landlord, he's mentioning his ex-girlfriend, who's the one that got him made immortal. Clearly not under, hey, honey, would you like to be immortal? Sure. That's clearly not how it happened. There's some other stuff there, but we only get little bits and pieces of it, enough of it to kind of give us an idea and to give us lots of things to guess and ponder until maybe more of it gets revealed someplace down the road, kind of a thing. I like all that aspects. I mean, I said Alice Cott is a challenging writer. He always is. I actually think this is some of the most consumable stuff he's written. I mean, as far as reading it, this is the easiest stuff to try and wrap your head around, I think. But I really like it. I mean, I'm spending $350 on something that I'm taking my time to really read and think about. Not to say that there aren't other comics that I can read really fast and I enjoy, but you start thinking about how much money you're spending on comics, and I know I'm getting my money's worth out of this because I'm working to read it, as opposed to whipping through it and having it done in 5 minutes and went, oh yeah, that was cute. And that's all I can say about it. So yeah, curious to see what happens, but not going to take any guesses at what's coming, kind of thing. I just don't. I don't know. What else we got? Did you get anything else, Luke? It's
I'm
just
out.
me.
It's just you.
me.
The spotlight's on you now.
Okay, so let's see. I got lots of weird books this week. Nameless issue number 5 came out.
Yeah, I love that thing you put on.
Yeah, Grant Morrison, Chris Birmingham with colors by Nathan Fabian. Yeah, just a complete head trip. I don't know how long it was between number 4 and this one. It seems like a long time, so that makes it difficult also. This is Morrison being challenging just for the sake of being challenging. And I think most people know Grant Morrison, recognize a lot of his work as being kind of that way anyway. This is definitely that way. Our main character is having a really bad trip, and you're not sure exactly what's really happening around him and what's not. Last we had seen of our main character, he had been up in space. There's this asteroid that's coming towards Earth, and it's going to crush Earth. On the asteroid is a bunch of ancient mystic symbols. Inside the asteroid is like some evil prison where there's some unnatural force that they really shouldn't mess with, that of course they mess with. And so in this issue, you're not sure if that whole space adventure thing was a dream or what he's going through in this is a dream. In this, he goes to this like haunted house. There's a bunch of other guys there, people there. They try doing a seance to try and connect with this alien haunting that's there. It messes everybody up. It kills everybody, leaving him alone. And then it starts flashing back to the space scene stuff again. So it's really a head trip because you're basically seeing the story through his eyes largely. He is heavily hallucinating, and so you're heavily hallucinating with him. I mean, this is what he feels like's happening to him being stuck on this thorny tree and basically shredded. At one point, with hallucinatory clowns in the background, it's nuts. Here he is being possessed during the seance by some tentacled, one-eyed creature, that basically pulls his brain apart. Yeah. But it's really cool. Clearly almost impossible for me to talk about without and make any kind of sense out of it, but I don't know. At one point I thought this was supposed to be, here it's raining razor blades, and literally the razor blades slice through his face and stuff. Yeah. It's gory, clearly. I'm not sure if this is an ongoing or if this is a miniseries. I don't know what the time frame is around it as far as where the story's going to go. It's one of those things I'm reading it and just taking the trip and kind of accepting it for what it is. And when it's all said and done, maybe I'll go back and reread the entire thing to see if there's little stuff that I'm not putting together because it's Grant Morrison. I think if you're a big fan of Grant Morrison, read it. If you are leery of Grant Morrison, don't pick this up. Yeah.
Man, that sounds like something ongoing. I'd give it a try. You said that's only issue 4, right? So
this is issue 5.
Early. Oh, it's
yeah,
issue 5.
Yeah, this is issue 5.
That's
Issue
not
5. $2.99 book. It's a trip. It's definitely a trip. I mean, I like it. I mean, I like the premise of it. That they've recruited this guy who calls himself Nameless because names have power. They're going to go up and try and stop this asteroid from coming down. They get up there. Whatever evil alien influence is there starts taking over. Everybody starts losing it. He's the last person to kind of lose it, and he's trying to keep it together because he's had these kinds of experiences before in the past. It's kind of what he does for a living, is kind of dive into the mystic, into the deep end of the mystics and fix whatever needs to be fixed. So now we're at the point where we don't know what's real and what's not real. Which part of the story is him on some bad trip, and which part of it is the aliens influencing him, and which part of it is this is what's really happening to him, kind of thing. So
that's weird. That's the same guys that brought you Batman Incorporated. They're doing a story like that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Rumble. This is issue number 7. I still really love Rumble. There's the Hydra who's missing 2 heads. It hasn't grown its heads back because the other 4 can't eat enough to get enough energy to regenerate those heads, and they're depressed, so they don't eat because they're depressed because they're missing their 2 friends. So I really love Rumble. The art in it is amazing, by James Herron and Dave Stewart. It's amusing. It's got some funny lines in it. The characters are such over-the-top kind of characters. There's a 3-legged dog in this named Apache that is just awesome. It's just a cool, 3-legged dog that hangs out with the Scarecrow guy in this. Helps him chase rats and stuff. I mean, so if you're a sucker for dogs, if I can find the dog in here, but the quote-unquote bad guys are trying to figure out how to deal with our hero because he's kind of rogue. He's not playing by the rules, and they're trying to figure out how to deal with him. But yeah, there's the dog. There's the dog, Apache. But he's missing a front leg, and they go chasing rats. And stuff, and whatnot. But I don't know. It's just fun. Like I said, for me, it's mostly about the art. The art in it is just, I don't know. It's visceral, and the action scenes where he's fighting rats and stuff are just really cool. And yeah, just good stuff. I really like it. But it doesn't advance the story super fast in any way. But still is interesting though. What else do I want to talk about? Wild's End started back up. This is issue number 1 of Enemy Within. Wild's End started out as either a 4 or 5 issue miniseries from Boom Studio. Started at the beginning of the year, I believe.
Froze again?
I dropped off again, didn't I?
Yep.
Heck is up with that?
We didn't know what we were gonna do if you were gone because you.
Right. Right. Anyway, so this takes off right where the last miniseries ended. Basically, less than a week has gone by, and the military has shown up because our main characters ran and told people, "Oh my gosh, there's aliens." They don't believe them to start out with, and now the military is being extremely paranoid. They don't know who the aliens are. They don't know who the aliens aren't. So they've quarantined this town. They're holding our main characters hostage because they don't know that they're not the aliens too. and the military is so lost that they faked a science fiction writing convention to get these two leading science fiction writers to show up so they can use their quote-unquote expertise, because they don't have the first idea of how to deal with aliens. And so they're asking these people who write fake stories about aliens what to do. How do we fight aliens, kind of a thing. So it's really funny because these two guys hate each other because they're competitors with each other. One guy believes that he is writing true science fiction because he's writing speculative science. He's taking science and then speculating what would happen and writing real science fiction. Whereas the other guy is writing flashy, romantic, great characters, kind of science fiction, and so the two are like oil and water with each other. And so they're constantly bickering at each other the entire time while they're trying to come to terms with the fact that the government has basically abducted them to explain how to fight aliens when they themselves don't even believe aliens really exist. So it's just kind of funny. It still has the charm that this book has. They come across as this, British people at the turn of the century where you're just starting to get cars, you're just starting to get steam engines and that sort of thing. And I'm really curious to see what happens. This is one of 6. Just fun book.
You said did you say I was starting back up again?
Yes. There was a mini-series before this that was either 4 or 5 issues called The Wild's End. And it was just immensely popular, and so when they got to the end of it, they didn't end it. I mean, they ended it, but it gave themselves the room to write another one because it was so popular. They knew they were going to come back and do more of it, and I'm glad they are because it's just fun. The characters are they're all animals. They're all animals, but they're people. So they have kind of characteristics of the animals, but not at the same time. One of our main characters is he's a dog. Who he's like a boxer, I think is the type of breed of dog he's supposed to be, but he's an old sea dog. He's from the Navy, and whatnot. And so I don't know. It's just fun. It's just a fun, different kind of a book. Excited to have it back. Mythic continues to be just lots of fun.
Now this is the one where like the hills was.
Yes, the hills and the clouds were making whoopee to make sure there's rain. Yeah, and last issue that they were laying down in Switzerland, laying down on the ground to let the cows walk on the top of them so they could tickle their udders so they'd get milk to come back. Yeah. So it is definitely that. It has that kind of sense of humor all the way through it. This issue is odd because this issue, the main story, is only like, I want to say 10 pages long. And then there's a backup story in it that kind of describes one of the characters. So I'm not sure exactly what that's about. But the main story I really love. The main story, they're fighting this kind of worm, I don't know, Venus flytrap hybrid monster thing. And it eats all of the imps. The imps come out, because the imps are mad because these dumb humans are trying to tickle the cow udders. That's their job. So they come out to fight the worm. The worm just basically eats them all up like they're a joke. They're running from the worm. This is our phone salesman from the first issue. He's really good at putting gadgets together. So he tears apart some walkie-talkies and a curling iron and makes basically a giant worm zapper out of it to fight the worm. This lady is she can see the future, but she didn't see this coming, kind of thing. And she's running from the worm, and she's like, I know you're not going to kill me, worm, because I've foreseen my death, and you don't even begin to resemble a trio of well-muscled, lusty young hospice nurses. So it just got lots of kind of goofy humor like that in it and stuff. But I don't know, it's kind of cool. They've discovered that there's some sort of greater mystery going on. Somebody is taking the mythical beings of the world and all the mythology that's out there, and they're taking these creatures and they're using them, but they're using like fake puppet, mechanically driven versions of it. This worm is some ancient creature, but that ancient creature's actually been dead for a long time, and this is like a fake version of that. But unless you're an expert, you're not going to know that kind of a thing. So the pieces of the plot are starting to come together as far as that. as far as that goes. The teams have got some things going on, and like I said, the makeup of the team is just really funny, interesting. Of course, they're still hanging out with the mutant Cyclops who actually has two eyes and stuff like that. That's just kind of fun. It's just kind of an odd book that I get a kick out of. It's been pretty funny. What else do I want to talk about? Hellboy and Hill, issue number 8, second part of a 2-issue story of the Hounds of Pluto. If you're a Mike Mignola fan, you pick this book up because it's just beautiful Mike Mignola art of Hellboy punching demonic cats in the face and discovering he has a half-sister that kind of flirted with him when he was a small child, that is now makes that whole storyline that was from years ago really, really weird in a whole other way. But just cool. I mean, I don't know. Don't have a lot to say about it other than, like I said, if you like Mike Mignola artwork, you need to be picking it up because it's brilliant Mike Mignola artwork. Visible Republic, issue number 6, issue number 6, the beginning of a new story arc. Still a really cool book. Lots of political stuff going on in it as we discover more of the back history of our dictator here and his cousin. And we get to meet the modern day version of his cousin who wrote this journal that this whole story is kind of being told through and what her plans are. Great Gabriel Hardman artwork and just really cool. And that's basically it for my independent books, I think. Any independent news?
I don't think so. I just wanted to talk about and say thanks to Sergeant America for talking about the paybacks, because
yes.
I picked it up and I read it and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Like you said, it's just fun.
Yeah. I haven't found
awesome.
a copy yet. My local chain store didn't have one because I went out to look for it after Mike talked about it. Yeah, because it sounded like it was going to be a good laugh. So
I think this is the last one on the shelves at my comic book store. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. I did get my free material that I got. I got this. It's the new 12 new Vertical #1s. I don't know if anybody else got this little advertisement. It kind of, for some of the issues, it really kind of gives you a few pages of what the books are going to look like, to give you interest in them. But basically, it goes over the 12 issues they're going to be coming out over the next 3 months: October, November, and December. I have to admit, I'm probably going to be trying most of them. partially because I get a deep discount on my ordering of it, but some of them I weren't sure if they were ongoings or miniseries. This tells me which is the ongoings, which is the miniseries, so that makes me more inclined to try some of them that I wasn't sure that I was going to try before. So looks like some really interesting stuff. Yeah. So, should be cool. So.
Anything hot coming out next week?
Next week is the weird week, because next week is the 5th week of the month, and it always seems like on the 5th week, the schedules for some of the books are pretty odd. Let's see.
Grayson Annual.
Yeah, Grayson Annual comes out. Millie had mentioned that when Archie #3 comes out, right?
Yep. I have to decide now if I want to pick up Grayson in print copies or continue to get it in digital.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably get it.
No, I'm just joking. Do what you.
Yeah, what else comes out next week?
X-Men 92. Oh, that's another thing. X-Men 92, I heard is being
going regular,
turned
right?
into an ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, forgot about that, but yeah.
That's interesting. Now I'm even more curious to see what the Marvel Universe is going to look like when this is all said and done.
Yeah.
Really big news. Sandman Overture #6, the final issue, comes out next week.
I heard about that.
So then we can sit down, for those of us who have been buying it, that haven't been reading it but just been buying it, we can sit down and read the whole glorious thing, all 6 issues, all in one shot. I'm super excited for that. Because I quit reading it at about issue 3. I just went, you know what? It's taken a year and a half for these 6 issues to come out. I'm just going to wait and get them all in one shot and be happy for that. So excited to be getting that. Should be awesome.
Batman, American Vampire. Holy cow!
Yeah, it's an issue coming out too, huh?
Still out there, huh?
Yeah. Final issue of Infinite Loop comes out. IDW, for those of us who have been collecting that. Look forward to see how that ends.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that.
Let's
Captain
see.
America White #2. I'm really excited about that because I really dig the first issue.
Let's see. Trying to look to see if any. Aren't any new books coming out this week though? Is there? As far as #1s or anything
Don't
else?
see anything. No. But I think Marvel's doing more of the True Believers Spider-Woman #1 and True Believers Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #1. So,
Oh yeah.
If you want to get those.
Right. Those are basically they're a reprinted dollar issue of the original
First
whatever.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marvel's been putting out like a bunch of the female-led titles and the True Believers reprint stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they got smart. I think that's smart to do. Give people the opportunity for not too much money to get a sense of what the characters are like and whatnot. And both of those books are books that are going to come back after Secret Wars is done. So, yeah.
And of course, still no Secret Wars. So I don't know how much longer we have to wait for the next issue. It's been a while.
Yeah.
How many more issues is left in it? Because we're
It's
getting
supposed to
toward the
3,
end,
I
right?
think. I think issue 5 was the most recent one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 8 issues, right? So.
Yeah.
So when's like the new titles are supposed to start?
I think they started rolling out in November.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, they're gonna have to cram. They're gonna have to cram this.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Let's see. Trying to think when that. Yeah, I think that's. I think like I want to say like next. Right into next month. Is it November? There's nothing comes out in October. I thought like Karnak or not Karnak, but with the what's that one called was coming out really soon. Let's see here. Look and see when these come out. See, October, like the Uncanny Inhumans #1. It starts in October 21st. Let's see, Karnak, October 21st. So next month, some of these books start showing up then. So, I don't know. Unless they delay.
Like new books gonna come in that Secret Wars isn't done, or
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
probably what's going to end up happening. Yeah.
I'm hoping for people whose sake who are reading Secret Wars, I'm hoping that these books that are starting out don't have such pivotal information in them that it's going to give away what the Marvel Universe is like after the fact, because that's a shame when that kind of stuff happens. But when you're doing this kind of an event book or whatnot, they should be able to figure out how to keep themselves on a schedule, in my opinion. Professionally, they need to do that so these little books, so it doesn't become that sort of a thing. Because that's what it's going to come into. Because then, if it's going to go past December, I think by December, lots of the new books have started up by December. So I think most of those team books are going by December. Because I just ordered. No, November is when a lot of them start, right? I think November, because I didn't order December books. I ordered November books, and a lot of those new Marvel books were in this order that I just did. So, yeah, I mean it's gonna, at the rate they're going, you're gonna have more than half the universe is gonna be out before Secret Wars gets tied up. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's the artist that is causing the delay. They said Ribic. I think it was he wanted to put extra time into the pages or something. I think that's what I heard, is that's the reason why it's delayed, but it's
Sure, and I appreciate that. I rather have quality work than it be throw together of a whole bunch of different artists. Especially you're talking about somebody like Ribic who kind of has their own style, It's not like if it was like a traditional house style, you could get kind of 2 or 3 artists that can kind of somewhat close to each other, and you can make comic book work. Because I mean, if you have him doing it, and then you have like 3 or 4 pages that are done by, I don't know, one of the Spider-Man artists or something, it would really seem weird to have this suddenly have these pages look that much different. But man, you think you should be banked far enough out in advance to make sure that stuff's right, because of what it is, and because they're not rebooting their universe, but they're relaunching their universe around the events that happen in this book. That affects everything else in one way or the other. Either it wrecks you reading the event book, or it wrecks the books you're going to start to read because of how weird that all ends up being. So, hopefully that doesn't turn around and then tie the writers' hands of these other books, where they're having to go back and rewrite their book or edit their book because the stuff hasn't come out in Secret Wars yet. Somebody important dies in Secret Wars. They can't be in one of these other books crying about so-and-so being dead when in the event book they're still perfectly fine. That could really change stuff. So,
yeah,
plus the fact
if you're like,
go ahead, Luke.
I was say if you're like the last issue, you want to buy some time when you're this close, I'd say okay. But if you're talking 3, it's kind of like what you're saying. That's a time management issue at that point.
Well, and if the latest issue is hung up, how far behind are the other issues?
Exactly.
Makes me nervous.
That's what I just keep thinking about. I mean, at some point is the final issue of this book going to be drawn by somebody else completely different, so they can get it, so they can get 2 out in a month or something. Well, but like I said, I'm on both sides of that. I mean, I want the creators to do their best work and their quality work or not. And so I don't complain, like with the Sandman, the fact that it's taken a year and a half for those 6 issues to come out. I mean, I laugh about it and whatnot, and this is how I'm going to choose to read them. I'm just not going to read them until they're all there, and then I'm going to read it and enjoy it. But that book is not affecting anything else in any way, shape, or form. So that's fine. I'd rather have the delay and have J.H. Williams III do this amazing art, because I know my eyes are just going to fall out of my head when I start reading that book, because it's just going to be incredible. But like if he was doing a main book somewhere that was the entire rest of the comic book universe was hinging on that, I would be frustrated as hell that we were having to wait that long. I'd be like going, dude, you need to develop a different style for this book, because this book needs to come out like this, not that long thing. That's why I don't have a problem with all these independent books where they do like an arc and then they take a 2 or 3 month arc. I mean, I go, oh my gosh, I have to wait this long for this great story to come back. But I'm happy that they're getting the time to take a vacation, to see their children, to eat some good food, to walk around a little bit before they get stuck back behind their desk, drawing all the time. They need that, and I'm happy as could be to have it be placed in arcs like that when I know it's going to happen. It's this unscheduled stuff. I mean, I know life happens. Clearly, if somebody dies or, has some significant health issue, clearly you can't fault them for those sorts of things. But at some point, continuously erasing your panels and starting over has to stop. Rubik wants to do this great piece of work. I get that, but at some point his editors have to go, look, this book has to come out this year, not next year. Right? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. But that's going to be weird. Luckily for me, I'm not getting it, and it doesn't seem like it's going to hold the books up I'm interested in reading, but it'll be interesting. Because I am curious. I mean, curious to see what the Marvel Universe is like after this. Is it going to continue to be a hodgepodge of different stuff? I mean, like, how does X-Men 92 fit into the new universe?
I don't know. But it was like, I was talking about last week, like Hawkeye, it wasn't Last Days, and Daredevil was Last Days, so like where do they fit in with the universe? They didn't deal with the world ending, but their series are continuing afterwards. I don't know, it's strange.
Because almost all the others did. I mean, all the ones I was collecting all literally had end days. I mean, at some point you saw worlds crashing into each other and stuff. I mean, it was, so yeah, I don't know. It'll be curious. I guess we'll know in a couple months, right? We'll know what it's all like at Christmas time, exactly how messed up it's going to be or not going to be. Yeah. Well, anything else we want to talk about while we're here? Call it a night. Okay. Short night of books. I know it sounds like next week might be a short week of books too, maybe. Thanks guys for coming on and talking books. Glad you picked up Grayson, Billy. Hopefully you'll stick with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It has a good vibe to it, so excited by that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in and watching this whenever it is. You're live now. Thank you very much, and if you're watching it in the future, thanks a lot. If you want to be on the show, just contact me. We'll try to get you on the show. That's usually mostly what it takes. Have to have some sense of who the heck you are in some way or another. That doesn't take me very much because typically if you want to be on the show, that means you're making videos somewhere. It doesn't take me much to watch videos of yours if I haven't been. And we'll get you on so you can talk books. Get some people on that read Marvel books that we don't read. So clearly this week we failed on the Marvel books. But anyway, thanks you two for coming on and talking books with me.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good time.
Have a great one, everybody.